Welcome back to another deck tech from your favorite BSS channel, the Wondercat channel. My name is Cody. Today we're going to be covering a deck that is close to my heart that I had named Yellow 5-Star. The deck was relevant in gameplay even up to CBO1, but I haven't really played it much since then. I thought I had enough time playing it that I would be able to make a video on this, go through some of the combos and whatnot. So let's get into it, shall we? So Yellow 5-Star was a concept that I'd made at the beginning of set 2, around then. Otherlander Charles free casting Joker on summon was pretty funny to see. You know, he's such an expensive and relatively weak card, considering he was usually blown up by Burning Force. But being able to free cast him, swing in, unblockable, just felt really fun, really strong. I started throwing yellow cards in left and right. You know, I used AC as my top end. The deck performed really good. I actually won an event or two with it. With set 3's release, we got the secret MVP of the deck, my boy Dumpty. Dumpty truly changed the way that I built it. We kind of took a lot in, took a lot out. Removing cards like Carbulk, like it had a Fabled Beast shell sort of thing. We added Toy Musashi. The deck started transitioning into a damned if you do, damned if you don't type style of play for the opponent. The inclusion of Dumpty and Musashi made the deck go from that fragile swarm style that yellow usually has to a resilient value engine that mimicked the curse kind of aristocrat purple decks that we would see running around at the time. The deck is very reliant on playing on curve to generate the mass amount of value that we want it to do. So playing your 2-drop, then your 3-drop, then your 4-drop, so on. Just make sure that your Charles and your Dumpties would always hit. Set 4's release, the deck really became a threat. But, you know, I don't want to give off everything, so we'll actually start talking about the list as it stands today. So we're running a playset of Musashi, 3 copies of Barask, and 4 Hippo Campo. As stated earlier, Musashi became the 2-drop version of Dumpty. With the amount of removal in the game, its ability to replace itself when chump blocking just allowed us to keep up the tempo. Barask was almost always a perfect turn 1 play. I don't know if I liked it enough as a 4-of, which is why I've settled at 3. It replaces itself with a card, or it ramps you a core. Like, it's just really solid turn 1. And of course we have Hippocampo. It's still one of the best early game blessed creatures we have. It's been part of this list and was coincidentally buffed with Barask's inclusion in set 3. We also have 2 copies of Cat Aether and 2 Beldegor. With the release of set 5, the only real update I'd want to make to this deck list is replacing the 2 copies of Card Soldier Pantan with the Cat Aether. Card Soldier Pantan is more or less a free castable card and can combo well with Charles, top decking something, allowing you to Charles from hand, basically guaranteeing whatever you wanted to hit. But Cat Aether adds 2 more Fabled Beast targets into the list, and adding Astral probably isn't the worst idea either. And of course we have the 2 copies of Beldegor, because, you know, Beldegor's great if we can find ways to coincidentally mill him. The deck is filled with 5-drops, so he is always live. So it's just, you know, very solid inclusion. We also run 4 Dumpty, 4 Charles, and 4 Joker. So we're going to get to the namesake of the deck. This is why we call it 5-star, because of Charles and Joker, or at least what Charles can help us produce in terms of our board. We wouldn't run Joker as a 4-of if we didn't have Charles. I think his ability to free cast our stuff just makes it way too strong to pass up. The playset of Dumpty allows us to usually replace himself on summon. Keeping him up to block at level 2 means he's also generating us extra value, drawing another card as well. Sadly for Charles, his ability only works on spirits, which is why the MVP or the better card kind of goes to Dumpty in this regard. Dumpty can add our magic and other cards, nexuses to hand. Charles free casting spirits, while can be better, doesn't generate the same amount of value, I guess. A cool combo of the list, actually, is being able to combo 2 Jokers together in one turn. So they both get the unblockable trigger. You summon the first one, swing with it, target your second one, gets its when summoned again. Both unblockable for a turn. Really, really cool. Even sneakier is if you're running a copy of Double Heart. You throw your Soul Core on an unblockable Joker and you swing for 2 with him. Helps get around those ice shields. But yeah, so we're going to round out our 35 creature list with 2 more playsets of cards, 5 drops, 4 copies of Hunden, and 4 Card Griffin. So Card Griffin's actually pretty hilarious in the deck. 4 out of 5 of its cost reduction, solid BP thresholds in comparison to the rest of the deck, and it was a potential check into the Yellow Mirror when they ran Genbu. Probably not nearly as relevant anymore, but you know, it's still a very fast card overall in the list, and it's a Fabled Beast, so there's nothing too wrong with that. Hunden was probably the biggest upgrade that we had from Set 4's release. Not only another solid 5-drop, but with 3 reduction, but I mean, read the card's text. Everything on it is just insane. If you want to attack, you take out a blocker. If you want to block, it takes out another attacker. When he's destroyed, he like filters for another Fabled Beast. He replaces himself. Decent BP thresholds. Like, the card is just so strong for a rare. He created pressure we needed against decks that would summon super big things, like Nova, Fang, I guess Hydra to an extent. Just being able to swing with him first and say, like, all right, this ain't blocking for the entire turn is just absolutely nuts. On this topic, I should also note as well, the deck actually had amazing matchups into blue. Things like Raging Tide and Floodstream would barely touch us. This is one of the reasons why I was so set on revolving around that 5 cost mark as well. Not only to make Charles relevant, like if you top deck Charles, he's going to hit just, you know, that little bit more. But the fact that Floodstream, it's a 1-for-1 essentially. It's garbage. Or Raging Tide isn't even going to hit anything of yours really. Just made the deck really, really good into blue's removal. Our Nexus package is fairly small. We're only running 6 all up, 2 Amethyst Sanctuary, 2 Cathedral, and 2 Phantasmal Paradise. So the Sanctuary is a bit of an interesting inclusion. We ran it to help control our top decks, manipulating things for like blocking with Dumpty and Musashi. And it helps with our reduction for Beldegor. It's potentially a flex slot, but I think it pulled enough weight that it was worth running the 2 of. The 2 Cathedral helps ramp us. The level 2 ability of the card draw I think it's a little overkill. I never really ended up putting the extra 3 cores onto it to use it and abuse it. But the extra cores are always super useful. We have so much card draw in the deck, I don't think the level 2 is just necessary at all. And 2 Paradise, you know, that's just another card draw engine. About half the deck is Fabled Beasts in terms of spirits, so every other spirit you summon, you're going to be drawing an extra card. Of course, we don't run the 4 of, so we're not going to see it as often, but if you get to that late game and you have a Paradise or 2 and you're summoning multiple creatures across, you know, multiple turns, it's just going to generate you so much extra value on top of all the other stuff that's dying and drawing you cards. And yeah. So the Magic lot consists of 9 cards to round us out, with 4 Godslaying, 2 Thorn Prison, 2 Counter Sword, and a single Dream Bomb. Godslaying was primarily our check into Hydra. Not sure how often we're going to see Hydra. We're probably going to see a lot more people, you know, messing around with set 5 and stuff. But, you know, we have a lot of 3-drops, Musashi to block with. Godslaying's just a really great yellow removal piece. I'm not too big a fan of the other, you know, Angelic Pressure, Exhaust Nexus in this list because they're just less likely to, they're not going to be hit off Dumpty, they're not going to be hit off Charles, they're not great to run. 2 Thorn Prison as well, just throws off combat math, solid generic inclusion, nothing really much to say about Thorn Prison. 2 copies of Counter Sword, deals with Ira, some of the crazy CBO1 spirits that we saw. The purple one that when it's summoned, it's like you can return a Shinji to the bottom of your deck or something to blow everything up. It's decent. It's fairly solid into other, generic purple and green lists as well. And the single copy of Dream Bomb, because bouncing things back to hand can be quite annoying. Should note as well, all this magic is 4-drops and 5-drops, because our 5-drops are our top heavy cost cards. And if we run a Charles into a Dumpty, or Dumpty with, Charles already on board, we're pretty much going to add any of these to hand for free. And like I said previously, things like Angelic Pressure and things like Exhaust Nexus, it's not worth the running, these sorts of cards and then whiffing them and then just milling them to grave and not being able to use them. So I'd rather go for consistency and making sure that if we are gambling, we're raising the chances that we can actually hit something and add it to hand as much as possible. So we'll talk about a couple of combos that the deck has that can be pretty, funny. Charles can obviously combo into itself. So I've seen multiple games where I've played Charles into Joker, putting Joker to level 2, triggering Charles again to summon something else. That's like 15 plus worth of, summoning costs, and you paid 2 cores for it on a full board with your original Charles. Like, it's absolutely nuts. The board presence you can build off a single summon, blocking with Dumpty at level 2, having him blow up, draw a card, and you get to summon Beldegor from grave. Is pretty solid too. Charles free casting any Fabled Beast off the top if you've got Paradise on board as well. It's a +2 on summon. You hit Barask off Charles, gives you the core or another card as well. Like, it's like if you want value the deck, this is it. This deck is like, hey, yellow, you want to play combat tricks? No, we don't need combat tricks. We're just going to do our own thing. We're going to play as if we were purple. And I think that's really funny. But yet again, this deck absolutely runs no X-rares. It's just rares and lower. The consistency is so out of this world. You feel bad when you miss or you whiff sometimes on your Dumpty or your Charles, but it's part of the game. It's gambling. It is a bit of RNG, but the deck has been built to be as consistent as possible. If you want to add the double heart into the list, I'd probably take out a Joker or a Card Griffin. The addition of Cat Aether allows us to play a little looser with Joker, I think. And of course, double heart is a pretty expensive card too. You don't want to have to be casting hard casting Jokers all the time. With a quick search on TCG Player for the card costs, I don't think this deck's going to cost you more than $20-$30 tops. Nothing other than Beldegor is over $1. So that's pretty good value for what you're looking at right here. But that's it for me today. I'm going to start working on my next video. I looked back over my yellow-purple reanimator list that I had mentioned the other day, and I just wasn't too happy with it. I do feel like I could probably touch up on it a little bit more. I tried to include some of the set 5 stuff, but I'm just not thinking it's going to work as intended, so I'm going to need to put a bit more work into that and play test it a bit. I'm also focusing on the new Skybringers list, so I'll be making one of those. There should be a photo up now in the video, a list of what I am planning on doing videos on, so feel free to let me know down below if you have a preference on what you would like to see first. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you never miss one of those Charles triggers and you are never punished. My name is Cody. I'll see you in the next Wondercat channel video. Ta-ta!